Hello, everybody. Welcome to Raising Vibrations and your assignment today. So today's video, we are going to take a look at this new moon in Cancer. This is happening for the 30th of June, 2022. So I hope you guys are well and that this energy in the Cancerian archetype is not causing too much emotional turmoil in your individual lives, as much as it is, in the collective. We are entering a phase right now where the sun is going to be at some point forming a opposition to Pluto within probably the next week and a half, 2 weeks, which means that we're going to go through a period where there's a lot of emotions that will come to the surface, and we're going to have to integrate and process those emotions that come through to us. Now, on an individual level, this is a lot easier, but on a collective level, don't be surprised when you start to see a lot of emotional flare-ups occur. We know right now, currently in the States, there's a huge emotional flare-up that's taking place around the abortion subject, which is a very sensitive conversation at the moment. And there's a lot of emotions going on at this stage. So how do we navigate this energy, right? How do we move forward with it? How do we integrate it into ourselves? What to look out for? I'm going to try to answer as many of those questions as possible when we look at the chart. Quick few things that I want to jump into. I'm sure many of you have just recently seen the video that me and Jen posted. We talked about the Aquarian Way. It's something that is very close to our hearts in terms of the message that we talk about and share, not only on this channel, but also through the individual work that we do with people outside of the YouTube landscape. And right now, of course, we've got this huge energy that is moving through us, this kind of wave of new awakening experiences, like shocking people into states of deep contemplation, the possibility of being able to look at and address our wounds, the traumas that we carry with us, and eventually begin to transform a lot of that energy into something that is moving again within your vessel, within your body, so that you feel alive, you feel that you have got your life back, and that you are able to participate in the experience that is your life. So this is kind of the energy that's taking place at the moment. We also talked about our program, the AQUARIAN Life program, which we're very excited about. Of course, this is actually being launched, and you can now actually go ahead and sign up for that. So for that, the description, you'll see there's a link there. The registration is open. I don't know how many spots are available, to be honest. It has been open since, I think, Monday, pardon me. So just make sure that you check out to see if there's actually space available for you if you want to join the AQUARIAN Life program. It's essentially human design, evolutionary astrology, and what is called Awaken Your Inner Truth. We've put all these 3 segments together, and we've beautifully done it in a way that allows you to understand how to heal your authority, how to understand the nature of the shift that we're currently going through right now, and then, of course, an experiential guide in understanding how your awareness works, right? This is the human design aspect. So we'll be talking more about that at the end of this video, but also if you're interested, check out the link below. Okay. So, of course, Mars is going to be making a square. It is currently in a square at the moment to Pluto. So Mars is currently in Aries, and we're sitting at 25 degrees. We'll look at the chart soon. So Mars square Pluto is a huge and significant thing to talk about, and an aspect that we go through. We also have the actual new moon itself. This is in Cancer, squaring Jupiter, that is in Aries too. So there's a lot of activity in Aries. Right, there's a lot of activity in the cardinal signs. So cardinal signs are Capricorn, Aries, Cancer, and Libra. The 3 of those signs are activated at the moment. And then we also have at the moment this closing relationship between Uranus and the North Node. right? This is happening in Taurus. So how do we interpret those symbols? The first thing that I think that needs to be understood about the nature of this current full moon itself is that it has a lot to do with an initiation, okay, into a new direction, into a new phase. And this initiation, this new phase energy that is materializing at the moment for us, actually goes all the way back to December, okay, where Venus was in a retrograde. So I can't remember exactly, but I think it was like the 19th of December 2021, Venus went into retrograde form. And so throughout, I think it was December, January, February, it was 40 days. So just around, I'm just trying to get my Venus retrograde correctly over here, but Venus retrograde for December, January, and February, right? I know that March had made a new phase conjunctions Pluto. So this cycle, this Venus retrograde cycle, has a lot to do with this current energy right now. Okay, so the seeds were set in motion during December. So a lot of things that have taken place for us right now that we're emerging into or stepping into, we're feeling like we're wanting to have agency to move in a new direction. A lot of the way that you see that sense of direction or that vision or that action that you want to take or the relationship that you have to yourself, whatever has shifted for you over the last 5-6 months, started with Venus retrograde there in December. Of course, in Capricorn, Venus made a conjunction to Pluto in Capricorn 3 times, right? The last one in March. So this seed that has essentially brought you to this point over here, this is this point where that seed has now arrived and it said, okay, well, let's flourish a bit. So it's an action-oriented energy. It's a shift in direction. So when I talk about cardinal energy is the nature of something that is changing, right? It's moving forward, all right? And then as we move forward, we try something new out. We're not 100% sure how it works. So we retreat to something that feels secure. And then we feel frustrated or limited in that space and we move out again, okay? So this energy right now, remember, in contrast, always taking contrast. It's always about that original seed that took place in December all the way to January, February, March, right? That energy now wants to be birthed into action, okay? That's what this energy is about. And so there's a mutation that is ready for you right now. And when you kind of reflect on your life and you may notice that there are some big changes that are taking place. You may notice that there are very subtle changes that are taking place, right? Everybody's different in terms of their relationship to how you would feel these energies. And so whatever's changing for you, or let me put it to you this way, whatever you want to action that you know is in alignment with something that has shifted in you, this is the time to recognize that you're getting support around this, okay? So this Pluto-Mars square is called an opening phase square, right? A new crisis in action. So we can expect to feel somewhat frustrated in certain actions that we want to take. And I want you to recognize that those actions or those frustrations are a reflection of what you may want in your life and you're feeling blocked or stuck, or that these frustrations are reflecting something that is in your way and that you need to let go of something within yourself, okay? Like an old attachment, an old psychological state of mind, a belief system, a mindset, whatever that may be, an old emotional attachment, whatever that is, that needs to be freed from, right? So there's this tension at the moment with this full moon, new moon, where the energy wants to push us into something new. And depending on how much resistance you have to that will dictate how much tension you feel, okay? So how much tension you feel is in relation to how much resistance you give, okay? Secondly, this pattern right now, this new moon in Cancer, is about initiating some action around things that you want to change in your life. And again, it's not something that you have to like, okay, I've got to go do this. It's notice what you want changed in life. Notice where you want to change direction. Allow that to move through you, okay? And then, of course, all of this is seeded from an energy that took place in December, or was started in December. So why Venus? Because Venus, A, was the retrograde planet, but B, if you look at Taurus right now, it's got Uranus in it. It has the North Node. Venus is now out of Taurus, but it was in Taurus for a long period of time, okay? And also we have had a solar eclipse in Taurus. So there's a lot of emphasis on the embodiment of the self. There's a lot of emphasis on the physical senses, the physical body, being into the body. And that's what I meant earlier when I said that, you know, your initiation into your shift in your consciousness and your reality is awakening your body, right? From the numbness, from the dissociation, from the parts of ourselves where we detach and we don't connect to our experience of our physical body. Okay. All right. So the energy right now, big emotions coming to the surface. Lots of these feelings and emotions at a collective level will have a lot to do with what we are processing at a collective level. A lot of things will change right now with these energies. So expect certain shifts in rules, regulations, laws, boundaries, these types of things. This is going to change. And the reason why I said that is because of Saturn squaring the nodes at the moment. And of course, we're talking about this impending conjunction between Uranus and the North Node, which again will create a deep ripple effect within the collective consciousness around what we actually value, right? And the association with things that we value. A lot of people will come to realize that their value association in life is very different from people around them once they start recognizing themselves as individual, right? As opposed to agreeing to a shared idea about what a consensus value is, right? Or what do you see? What is your individual perspective, right? These types of things. Okay. Also to note, Neptune, of course, has gone retrograde 2 days ago. So just very briefly, what does Neptune retrograde mean? Neptune retrograde is I was explaining to somebody yesterday, or to a group yesterday, that Neptune is the ocean. And so the beach, think of it as Saturn. And so when Neptune's direct, we get the water is like going onto the beach, right? The waves crash and they go onto the beach like this, and it's more forward moving. What that means is that we feel inspired, motivated. We feel spirit moving through us. We project into our world a meaning that is deeply subjective, but part of our lives. We feel a spirit in something. When Neptune goes retrograde, it's like the water then recedes back. Okay, so this is the forward movement, and then the water recedes back. And when it recedes back, what we have is shared experiences of disillusionment, right? Or that we start to recognize the projections may longer have meaning or purpose or value for us. So wherever Neptune is sitting in your chart, it is deeply succinct with, of course, this new moon, and it will have a lot to do with understanding our projections, right? Let's say Neptune in the third, right? We may notice that something around our communication, okay, communicating, third house. We may notice with Neptune going retrograde that there are certain ideals or projections or utopian perspectives that we hold about certain ways of communicating, that as this Neptune retrogrades and recedes, we start to see that, oh, actually, this is something that's, you know, very personal to me and not shared amongst a lot of people, or maybe communicating like that, you know, is something that I idealize, but again, not something that is part of, you know, what a shared agreement. There are other manifestations of that, by the way. So there's just one very simple one. It's just to kind of put the point across here. How does it link in with this new moon? In the sense that, firstly, Neptune is in a water sign, right? It's Pisces. This is a water sign new moon. We're talking about, again, the process of emotions. This is an opportunity where emotions will come to the surface and we can purify them, right? Coming to clarity around certain projections or ideals that we hold that maybe don't work for us anymore. There's an opportunity for emotional healing around certain ways in which relationships have played out in our lives. Maybe there's a deep conversation that needs to be had with somebody or with people. Maybe you need to reach out and say, hey, I'd like to have a conversation with you. Over the last 3 or 4 months has been really difficult. So I just want to maybe address some of these more core emotional parts of our relating, and maybe we can find some form of consensus or some form of shared forgiveness. Let's say, for instance, there's some hurt that's taken place. I'm sure many of us in some way, shape or form are trying to resolve relationship dynamics. And so this will be applicable. Okay, so processing our emotions. Okay, so let's jump quickly into the charts because I just want to show you a bunch of stuff, and then we'll close out today's video, okay? Okay, so here we have the new moon, and as you can see, it is located all the way here at the bottom of the chart. There it is. That's where it's located. And I was talking about certain aspects like Pluto sitting at 27 degrees retrograde in Capricorn, and Mars sitting here at 25 degrees of Aries. And if I click on the actual Pluto sign, you will see that the square is taking place. That's a red aspect, okay? So it's an opening phase. Energy is trying to move into a new direction, and it will sometimes be met with frustration, sometimes be met with feelings of freedom. And this energy is very prominent right now, this idea of freedom and the need to have agency and to break out of restriction. Like, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel that feeling of stuckness. And again, the attempt here is to try to recognize the difference between what that stuckness is trying to tell you. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go again over to now. There is the Jupiter sitting at 7 degrees of Aries, and it is squaring the moon and the sun here in Cancer. Okay, so that's the other square I was referring to. And look at this, right? Venus is 7 degrees, Jupiter at 7 degrees, and Sun, Moon 7 degrees. So a little interesting caveat there for us, just in terms of symbolism. And so again, because we have Jupiter making an aspect to the nodal axis, there is an element of this, again, this new moon that has a lot to do with the way that our collective is being impacted and how it's shifting. And again, a huge part of what you're actually looking at right now in terms of this chart has to do with the current event or political event that is taking place in the States at the moment. Okay, this is the Saturn archetype here, and it's flip-flopping between, again, rules that were associated with the past, judgments and certain laws that were passed in the past. And now Saturn comes along in its retrograde form in Aquarius and says we need to revisit these things. And this time around, the decision gets overturned, right? Or the decision gets changed, and it creates social divide and conflict within the states at the moment. And that's very rife. And that has a lot to do with Jupiter and Mars in Aries at the moment, right? We're trying to figure out how we do this collective story, but how do we do it while still understanding the sovereignty of the individual and its relationship to the collective? I think this is a big conversation that is always being taken place within the collective, to be honest. This is just one example. I'm sure there are many examples in different parts of the world where this is occurring. Here's the Neptune retrograde, trining the South Node. Again, the context of this trine to the South Node has a lot to do with our relationship to healing the past. So again, the South Node will bring up deep core emotions that need to be resolved. This Sun-Moon aspect squaring Jupiter. And again, if you look at the Pluto square at the moment, will bring a lot of emotions to the surface around this. This is a peak experience. Trauma work needs to be done during this time. Of course, if you're coming into contact with a lot of intense feelings and emotions, a lot of that is being brought to the surface. It's like there's a shock, an emotional shock that's occurring beneath our emotional archaeology, right? Beneath the surface, and it's now sort of percolating all the way to the top. And this is what we're experiencing. And we're needing to figure it out. We're needing to walk through the fire, as it were, and try and make sense of things. And it just depends on what your position is on how you feel about things in your life. Ultimately, this message is trying to push towards taking emotional responsibility for the self, recognizing that we are inhabiting this planet in a way where there is uniqueness and difference, and it's not easy, it's not black and white, and Chiron is definitely at this point in time trying to help us figure out how we communicate and exist and coexist with such diversity. And that's a big part of the topic of our lives at the moment, of course. Okay, so there's the chart at the moment. Again, lots of cardinal energy moving us forward with a lot of things, trying to heal past experiences and interactions, and trying to liberate us from a lot of themes and dynamics that have been taking place in our lives. Okay. So as you can see, a lot of change, a lot of inertia. It's natural to feel frustrated, like I said. It's natural to feel stuck in some ways, but it's also natural at the moment to feel liberation in many ways. And it's kind of a paradox of these two archetypal energies at the moment. Ultimately, this has a lot to do with the ability to feel agency around acting upon and moving forward with these deep internal shifts that have been taking place in our lives over the last 6 months. And this is a time where we will start to feel that energy emerge in our lives. But we will also feel where stagnation is, right? Where things are stagnating in our lives and we need to process through them, confront them, and let them go. Okay. All right, everybody. Well, I hope that you got some value from this video, as always. If you thought this was valuable, let the algorithm know by hitting the like button. If you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Let people know by sharing this content far and wide, of course. And final reminder, for those of you that are interested in doing the Aquarian Life program, again, I'm not entirely sure how many spaces are available. I know they're limited due to the quality of work that we want to deliver. So if that's something that you want to do, there's a link in the description, as well as one that comes up over here that will take you straight to a page that will show you everything that you need to know about the program as well. Okay. All right. My friends, actually, sorry, one thing that I wanted to say, I completely forgot about it. If you are on Instagram and you have been messaged by Raising Vibrations, just check the spelling of the actual Raising Vibrations itself. Our account has been copied and duplicated, and they're reaching out to people. It is not us doing this. So if you notice that, I'm sorry for all the inconvenience that has taken place, but there are some duplicated fake accounts that are going around at the moment, okay? All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.